Long before Earth was seeded, before humanity bore witness to gods who walked as men, there existed a kingdom far beyond our skies. A red planet with a sweeping elliptical orbit, cycling every 3,600 years. Nibiru, ruled not by democracy, not by a pantheon, but by bloodline, by right of succession, and above all, by strength. And at the head of this divine hierarchy stood Alalu. Ancient Mesopotamian texts, though fragmented, whisper of a time before the Anunnaki as we know them. Before Enki and Enlil were household names, there existed a lineage older and deeper. In Hurrian myth, one of the oldest in Mesopotamian archives, Alalu ruled the heavens for 9 cycles before being overthrown by Anu. But what these myths don't say openly is what Alalu discovered. Alalu was not just a ruler. He was a seeker, a conqueror, a miner of the stars. According to Sumerian and Akkadian tablets, interpreted by scholars like Zechariah Sitchin, Alalu's court discovered a planetary imbalance threatening Nibiru's atmosphere. The solution: gold. Not for wealth, not for jewelry, but for atmospheric stabilization, to repair the thinning shield of their dying world. And Earth was rich in it. It was Alalu who first detected gold deposits in the inner solar system. It was Alalu who first descended to Earth. And it was Alalu who may have claimed Mars as a way station, perhaps even the Moon as a final stronghold. But history would not remember him as a pioneer. Instead, it would brand him a traitor. Nibiru was not unclouding and clouding. The throne of Nibiru was not passed gently. On Nibiru, succession was written in the stars, and often in blood. Alalu had ruled for 9 great cycles. His word shaped cities, his symbol carved into stone, his voice echoing in the rituals of sky priests. But power, no matter how divine, always invites challengers. And one rose from within. Anu, a noble, ambitious, descendant of royal blood, but not of the ruling line. He claimed Alalu's rule was unjust, that the old king had failed to preserve Nibiru from collapse. He did not ask for Alalu's throne, he demanded it. The council was divided, the people were silent, the gods watched. And so, the ancient rite was invoked. Not a vote, not a trial, but a combat of succession, a battle where only one would rise as king of Nibiru. The records do not detail the weapons used, nor the battlefield. Only this: Alalu lost. Whether it was treachery, fate, or Anu's superior strength, the outcome shattered the First Order. Alalu, humiliated and defeated, fled. But he did not go quietly. In a craft shaped like a golden orb, Alalu launched into the stars. Through the asteroid belt he flew, past the red wasteland of Mars, toward a blue and green gem shimmering in the void. Earth, the planet of gold. He claimed it for himself. And from that moment on, Alalu became both exile and pioneer, the first of the Anunnaki to descend upon Earth. But Anu could not let him go unchecked. Alalu had knowledge of the gold, the atmosphere restoration plan, and of secrets buried beneath Nibiru's ancient temples. And so Anu sent his bloodline after him. He sent Enki, the architect, the scientist, his own son. And in this pursuit, the story of gods on Earth truly begins. As escape was not just an act of desperation, it was a calculated move, a final attempt to seize destiny by outrunning it. Banished from Nibiru, branded a usurper, and stripped of all royal protections, he piloted his celestial vessel through the dust-choked asteroid belt. Records suggest he may have paused first on Mars, then continued on to Earth. But why Mars? In ancient accounts, Mars, known as Lamu in Sumerian, was described as a way station. Not as lifeless as we now see it, but once harboring atmospheric generators, water reserves, and docking chambers built long before our history books began. Alalu's craft may have landed or crashed on Mars, either out of necessity or intent. Some say he left behind tools, artifacts, even a base, and then he made his descent to Earth, becoming the first Anunnaki to walk its soil. He documented its lands, its waters, its gold-rich rivers. In his exile, he had found the salvation of Nibiru. But exile leaves scars. Cut off from his people, pursued by rivals, Alalu aged. Wounded in spirit and body, his transmissions became fewer and darker. Eventually, even Anu's court could no longer ignore him. So a new mission was formed, not to rescue, but to investigate, to confirm whether Alalu's claims were true, and if they were, to take the gold by force. But here's where the story fractures into mystery. According to the lost book of Enki, Alalu died on Earth or Mars, his remains buried far from the thrones of Nibiru. Yet other versions, passed down through esoteric schools and fringe researchers, claim something stranger, that Alalu never truly died, that he was entombed, not buried, beneath the surface of the moon, and that his face, frozen in time, still gazes silently back at us. The face on the moon, long dismissed by astronomers as a trick of light and shadow, may in truth be the greatest monument ever carved, a warning, a claim, a tombstone for the king who fell. The moon has always been with us. It lights our night skies, controls our tides, and captures our imaginations. But what if it's also watching us? For decades, whispers have circulated in UFO circles, ancient astronaut theories, and even behind closed doors in classified aerospace programs, that a structure, a symbol, a face exists on the moon, and that it may be Alalu's tomb. Let's break this down. In Sitchin's translations of the Enuma Elish, he writes of Alalu's final resting place being on a celestial body, separate from Earth and Nibiru. He suggests that Alalu was exiled one final time, possibly buried beneath the lunar regolith, as both punishment and tribute. But it's not just the texts that whisper this. In 1994, NASA's Clementine mission sent back detailed photographs of the moon's surface. Among them, a strange formation on the far side of the moon, a face. To skeptics, it was nothing but erosion and pareidolia. To others, it was confirmation. A massive, symmetrical, humanoid visage etched into a crater's edge, eerily similar to the infamous face on Mars. Some theorists believe it was carved by the Anunnaki or by Alalu's surviving followers as a monument to their fallen king. Others point to gravitational anomalies, strange mass concentrations beneath certain lunar craters. Could one of these be a hollow vault, a chamber, a tomb? In Sumerian depictions, gods who fall are often granted memorials, sometimes of stone, sometimes of light. What if the face on the moon isn't just stone, but stone concealing technology, an encoded message, a beacon for return? And most important, why has no mission gone there? Despite decades of lunar mapping, the face formation remains mysteriously absent from high-res public scans. Why hide a rock unless it's not a rock? Why hide a god unless he's not dead? Alalu may have died in exile, but he didn't die forgotten. His actions triggered a chain reaction that would forever change the fate of Earth and humanity. After confirming Alalu's discoveries, Anu dispatched his sons, Enki, and later Enlil. Their mission: extract gold and secure the planet. But this wasn't just conquest. Earth, it turned out, was not empty. Early hominids, primitive but adaptable, roamed the wild lands, and Enki, the geneticist, saw potential. The gold mining operations were brutal. Even the Igigi, the lower class of Anunnaki, rebelled. It was then that a decision was made, one that echoed Alalu's own survival instinct. Let us create a worker in our image. Thus began the genetic hybridization project. Using the DNA of Homo erectus combined with Anunnaki genetic material, Adamu was born, the first human. A being created from necessity, born of rebellion, and descended from a lineage Alalu unknowingly initiated. Because without his discovery of gold, without his exile, without his warning, the Earth mission might never have happened. Some fringe researchers even suggest that Alalu's genetic code was subtly carried through the Anunnaki elite, that he, though fallen, left behind a legacy of blood that runs through modern kings, priesthoods, and perhaps even scientific elites. That in some way, we are his descendants, which raises the deeper question, was Alalu just a tragic king? Or was he the catalyst for all human civilization? Alu left behind more than cities and law. They left behind bloodlines. Anu's sons, Enlil, the commander, and Enki, the scientist, established diverging paths of kingship and priesthood. But Alalu's legacy? It didn't die with him. It went underground. In some versions of the Enuma Elish, it said that Alalu's daughter was married into Anu's line, creating a blood mingling that united rivals. This interbreeding, whether symbolic or literal, seeded royal lines across Sumer, Egypt, and even Europe. The pharaohs claiming divine right from the gods, the Merovingian kings rumored to hold dragon blood, the House of David said to guard a sacred bloodline tied to the heavens. Modern conspiracy lore connects these lines to the Illuminati, the black nobility, and secret societies guarding the knowledge of the gods. Some claim Alalu's worship was never fully extinguished, only obscured, hidden in serpent cults, Mars mystery religions, and even encoded into Freemasonic rituals. But here's where the story bends into prophecy. Ancient Dogon, Hopi, and Zoroastrian traditions speak of a returning Sky King, one who fell from the stars, one who was wrongfully dethroned, one who will return in the time of great shaking. Sound familiar? If Alalu's body, preserved on the Moon or Mars, holds genetic code, symbolic power, or advanced tech, it could be the key to reopening ancient stargates or restoring the cosmic order. Some believe elites already know this, that they are searching or even preparing for the moment when the face on the Moon reawakens, not as a statue, but as a signal, the call of a forgotten king, and in that moment, history will begin again. Stiffness, we often speak of history as something long past, something carved in clay, written in dead languages, buried beneath sand and stone. But Alalu's story refuses to stay buried. His tale is one of cosmic betrayal, exile, and legacy. But more than that, it's a reflection of our own forgotten history. The war between Anu and Alalu wasn't just political. It was a war of visions. One saw power as inheritance. The other saw power as earned through discovery, exploration, sacrifice. Alalu gave everything, his throne, his legacy, even his life, for a chance to save Nibiru. And, by extension, us. Because without him, there is no Earth mission, no Anunnaki on Earth, no Adamu, no civilization. So why has he been erased? Why is the face on the Moon ignored? Why is his name missing from most mainstream histories of the Anunnaki? Perhaps because his return threatens a deeper lie, that those in power today inherited it rightfully. Perhaps Alalu represents something deeper, the spirit of the rebel, the pioneer, the god who fell and might rise again. Across ancient texts, we find the same prophecy in new forms. The king who fell shall return, cloaked in light, bearing knowledge forbidden to all but the worthy. If the face on the moon is more than rock, if it is a vault, a beacon, or even a resurrection chamber, then the war is not over. It's just hidden. And in that case, we are all living in the aftermath. The elites, the bloodlines, the global agendas, they may all be acting not in the name of Anu, Enki, or Enlil, but in fear of Alalu's return. This is Hidden Origins TV, and today, you've seen the buried truth behind the first king of Nibiru. Share this episode, decode the symbols, and prepare. Because in the next episode, we uncover Enki, the rebel god and creator of man, the architect, the scientist, the serpent of Eden, and the one who gave us the spark the gods tried to keep. Stay tuned.